Canos, Baptiste, Norgard, Janelt and Henry, with Mbeumo and Tony as the two up front. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, West Ham United against Brentford. 7th place, 10th at the London Stadium as West Ham United take on Brentford. And for West Ham it is Fabianski in goal with a back four of Koufal. Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the 2 o'clock kickoff at the London Stadium as 7th place West Ham United take on 10th place Brentford. The players have just taken the knee and referee Peter Banks has just got the game underway. West Ham have started the season looking in good form and did their game against Rapid Vienna on Thursday night. They looked comfortable in that game, really. A couple of awkward moments, but overall David Moyes' side looked accomplished. Brentford themselves have started the season well. A couple of disappointing games away from, and they'll find it tough, we think, this afternoon at the London Stadium. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Dan McCarthy taking you through this game. And Dan, West Ham will feel they're strong favourites this afternoon.
Yeah, they certainly will. They've had a good start to the season, following on from their exploits last season, which of course got them into the Europa League. And I think what's been important for David Moyes is they've not looked out of place playing in European competition. I think maybe some would have thought that there'd be a bit of a drop-off, but they're in and around. They're comfortably a top-half team, and there is just a lovely balance about West Ham. You know, looking throughout the side, I think they've got a really good defensive unit. Zuma was a fantastic signing. The midfield of Souček and Rice is very strong. So everything looks all rosy at the moment, but Brentford have caused problems to a few other teams so far this season.
They have. They've looked stronger at their own stadium, it has to be said. They did get that win away at Wolves a couple of weeks ago. But barring that, they had a couple of disappointing games. They should have lost away to Palace, really, and away to Villa. Would have been very happy to have at least got draws in those games. But a bright start here for Brentford inside the first 90 seconds. Bees have won themselves a corner kick. It's going to be from the left-hand side. Already Norgard and Zanka Jorgensen making their way into the 6-yard box. Looks like it is going to be an in-swinger here from Sergi Canos there. Frank Onyeka is waiting there for the short ball as well as Canos tries to go towards that near post. It's knocked out towards the edge of the area. One strike charge down. A second strike clips off the top of the bar. Really clean strike there from Bryan and Mbeumo. The ball dropped to him. It was inviting the strike and unlucky there just off the top of the bar.
Yeah, it was poorly defended against that by West Ham. They allowed the ball to bounce. They allowed Brentford to get to the second balls. And we know what quality Mbeumo's got with his left foot. Curled that. He looked to curl it towards the far corner. And I think the goalkeeper would have been beaten. He's really unfortunate.
Yeah, Fabianski hitting the deck, going almost the wrong way there as he was trying to go after that one. A really good strike from Mbeumo. Just to remind you of the two 11s, because there was a change in the Brentford 11 that I recorded earlier. It's Fabianski in goal for West Ham. Back four of Vladimir Koufal, Kurt Zuma, Angelo Ogbonna and Aaron Cresswell. Thomas Souček and Declan Rice are the two holding midfielders. Jared Bowen, Said Benrahma and Pablo Fornals are ahead of them, with Mikhail Antonio as the lone frontman. For Brentford, it is David Raya in goal. A back three of Zanka Jorgensen, Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. Sergi Canos and Rico Henry are the two wide men. The three in midfield are Shandon Baptiste, Christian Norgard and Frank Onyeka, who comes in for Vitaly Janelt, who got injured in the warm-up. And then it's Bryan Mbeumo and Ivan Toney as the two up front. Brentford in their all-yellow away strip, in possession inside their own half. Down the right-hand side, Zanka goes to Onyeka. Canos back to Onyeka in midfield. Bit of space here now for Brentford to try and get this ball over towards the left-hand side. And here is Rico Henry now, being stood up here by Koufal. He puts the ball towards the back post. It's a header and it's just wide. And Mbeumo again getting higher than a couple of taller defenders. It's a bright start from Brentford, but at the same time, they've got to capitalise on this poor start from West Ham.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's, again, uncharacteristically poor defending from the Hammers as Mbeumo. It's a very good leap from him. He got in between Cresswell and Ogbonna. West Ham's defence just caught out slightly and nods it just wide. But you're exactly right. While the sun is shining, they've got to take these chances.
Certainly do, as we see Thomas Frank. He'll be delighted with the way his side have started this season. A bright start for Brentford here in the first 4 minutes. Not really seen any kind of attacking possession from West Ham as yet. It's a ball that goes out for a throw to Brentford down the left-hand side. Henry now leaving this one for Ethan Pinnock. Tries to launch a long throw here. Pinnock trying to find the run of Tony, headed up in the air by Rice. Koufal gets it to Souček, who is then caught as he tries to hook it up in the air. That is going to be a free kick to West Ham. Frank Onyeka just a little bit late on the Czech international there.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I think when West Ham come forward and Brentford that they are going to make a few errors during the game. This is where West Ham's extra experience will come to the fore. You just have another look at the replays. It's slightly missed time by Onyeka, but I don't think there's anything too serious.
It's one of those where he's sort of got to go for it. If he backs off, then certainly his manager won't be pleased. So it's one of those where he just got beaten to it by Souček. Now Zanka Jorgensen gets the start today after a late injury to Christopher Ager. Hooks the ball up in the air. It's now with Frank Onyeka. Square to Henry down the left-hand side, being blocked by Kufal. Goes back towards Ethan Pinnock. And the ball now back with David Raya. There's two other games being played, 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Goalless so far between Palace and Leicester, and Spurs and Villa. Those games also available on our service. But here come Brentford again. Shandon Baptiste, just a little bit under hit was the pass. West Ham can now come away with it here with Said Benrahma sending a ball down the left-hand side for Mikhail Antonio to chase. He gets there ahead of Janssen, breaks in. Always gone over the line there. Bowen then chests that ball towards goal, but it was clearly out for a goal kick. And that's something that Brentford have to be aware of, is the pace of that West Ham attack.
Yeah, they certainly do. I think Janssen did pretty well in the end to force Antonio further out wide. He never looked like, when he tried to take it round the outside of Janssen, that he was going to be able to keep the ball in play. Good strong defending that from Pontus Janssen, but that's exactly what West Ham can do when they're on the back foot. They can put a long ball forward towards Antonio, and he's got half a chance of getting on the end of it.
Yeah, and he's in some really good goal-scoring form right now, Mikhail Antonio. Declan Rice giving the foul away over on the West Ham left, still inside the Brentford half. A free kick to the Bees now, a chance for them to try and send this ball further forward. And it's been a really good month for West Ham, the month of September, barring that defeat to Manchester United, which really they should have drawn at the very least with that last-minute penalty. It's been all wins and just the one draw, so it really has been a good month for David Moyes' side, including 2 wins in the Europa League. But now the ball going towards the edge of the West Ham penalty area, cleared by Aaron Cresswell, back towards the halfway line. Janssen with the header there for Brentford, headed up in the air now by Declan Rice. Loose ball picked up here now by Onyeka, but Baptiste runs straight into Antonio, and now it was Fornals trying to get the ball forward, but that's a good ball from Onyeka to find Tony on the right-hand side. His ball towards Mbeumo just a little bit too high. Put up in the air now by Thomas Souček, bouncing aside Benrahma, former Brentford man, trying to get on the end of this one. But it's Onyeka that comes away with it, and now Rico Henry has a possession for Brentford down the left-hand side, heading towards the penalty area. Plays a quick 1-2 with Mbeumo, back to Rico Henry at the edge of the area. Kufal trying to block him off. He goes back towards Norgard, and then Norgard plays a very optimistic ball down that left-hand side on the overlap. But then Kufal gives it away, runs straight into Rico Henry. I suppose last season that might have been given as a free kick to Brentford, but these days there needs to be a bit more contact before a foul's going to be given.
I'm a little bit surprised that wasn't a free kick, to be honest. I thought, Kufal made the initial error. He's already apologising to his teammates, rightly so as well, because that could have been a really big blow for West Ham. I thought he just barged into Henry there, and I'm surprised the free kick wasn't given.
Well, it's one of those now where we've seen since the Euros, haven't we? The referees have been told to just allow a little bit more of the shoulder barge, a little bit more of the physical contact. And in fairness, players are learning quickly. There seems to be more of these collisions in midfield where players aren't appealing for a free kick straight away like they used to be. So it just goes to show that it can be just toned down a little bit. We don't want too much involvement with the referees, although in fairness the game between Chelsea and Southampton yesterday had VAR complaints from both managers. But getting back to the action here at the London Stadium, that should be a free kick to Brentford over on the right hand side. Aaron Cresswell is swearing to the referee that he never made any contact there with Sergi Canos. Now Cresswell goes over to Canos asking him what's wrong, because he feels that there was no contact at all.
Yeah, it did look as though there was contact with Cresswell and Canos. Just a little bit mistimed. Again, a bit like the Onyeka one a few moments ago. It's a leg that stuck him in the air, or probably a bit worse than the Onyeka one, actually, as Cresswell shouted at him straight away to get up, but it's definitely a mistimed challenge.
I think so. I think because if that happened to Cresswell, I think he would have expected a free kick for exactly the same. But this is a good opportunity now for Brentford. Coming up to 9 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Goalless here at the London Stadium. It's also goalless at Sellers Park between Palace and Leicester, and it's goalless at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Spurs and Aston Villa. Just a small matter of Liverpool against Manchester City to come at 4:30 this afternoon. That is on our service as well, as Sergi Canos now waits to take this free kick over on the right-hand side. Looks like he's got a short option there to lay it off to Mbeumo. There's 4-5 Brentford players to aim for inside the penalty area, 3 waiting at the edge as well. Canos lifts this one, but it's a good header away by Thomas Souček. Very good in the air, the Czech midfielder. The ball now hooked back towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a great strike there from Tony after the header from Ethan Pinnock, and West Ham nervously looking for an offside flag that doesn't come.
Yep, that's 3 chances they've had now in the opening 10 minutes, Brentford, and that's a really good, well-worked opportunity as well. Pinnock, I think, looked up and saw that Tony was making that run towards the near post. He catches it very sweetly with his left foot, but fair play to Fabianski. He positioned himself well and made that near post save.
Made the near post save. We've seen one replay now. He definitely wasn't offside there, Tony, when Pinnock headed that ball to him, so it was the right decision for the flag to stay down. Corner kick to Brentford now on the right-hand side. Sergi Canos standing over it, aims at the near post, it's headed away, hooked back up in the air there by Shandon Baptiste, but that's onto the roof of the net and out for a goal kick. But this bright start for Brentford continuing, and they're not, well, I say they're not capitalising. They've had a one shot cannoning off the bar and a couple of good saves from Fabianski as well. Really good header there from Pinnock to set up Tony in the first place.
Yeah, it was. He saw exactly where Tony was making the run, and he kind of used the height of the ball to be able to just nod it on towards where Ivan Toney was. Caught it brilliantly, left-footed, but as he mentioned, a good save. But Brentford will take real encouragement from how they've started this game.
They absolutely will. They just need to make sure they can keep it going, because we're still waiting for West Ham to really wake up in this game. Hardly seen any kind of attacking possession from the Hammers so far. Long clearance now from Fabianski, headed forward though by Ethan Pinnock, straight onto the head of Kurt Zouma. Battle for it in midfield. Souček blocked by Onyeka. Onyeka then runs into Said Benrahma. West Ham back in possession now with Cresswell down the left-hand side. Just plays it short to Pablo Fornals, immediately being closed down there by Canos. And the ball now played back towards Ogbonna at the edge of his own penalty area as Brentford pressing. West Ham having to go back towards Fabianski now. And Fabianski looks up, clears it long into the Brentford half, but that's going to be easy for Janssen. In fact, he can just leave that, and it will drop all the way through to Pinnock. The bench for West Ham this afternoon, it's Issa Diop, Manuel Lanzini, Ben Johnson, Alex Crown, Nikola Vlasic, Craig Dawson, Arthur Masuaku, Andriy Yarmolenko and Alphonse Areola. Strong bench for West Ham, has to be said. For Brentford, it's Sam Ghoddos, Matthias Rasmussen, Mads Bidstrup, Charlie Good, Marcus Forss, Matthias Jensen, Johan Visser and goalkeeper Alvaro Fernandez. But that bench for West Ham, you could argue that almost all those players, they could easily get into the starting 11.
Yeah, they certainly could, as Brentford look to come forward
they
again.
They do. It's Rico Henry that brings the ball forward this time. He gets it over towards the right-hand side. Strike from Canos, gets a deflection, and it's out for a corner kick. This good start for Brentford is getting close to 15 minutes now.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think Canos, a little bit unfortunate there, the fact that his first touch took the ball slightly away from goal. But again, it's lovely link-up play down this left-hand side. Rico Henry continuing his strong run forward. That chest control by Canos just meant that he had to, swivel his body to try and strike the ball towards goal. Declan Rice did well in the end to deflect it behind, but at the expense of another corner.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That chest control from Canos just allowed Rice that extra split second to get closer to the Brentford number 7 and charge down the effort. Corner kick now from the right-hand side. And it is going to be Canos with the outswinger. Again, it's a good header from Angelo Ogbonna. Gets the ball away from the penalty area. Frank Onyeka picks this one up for Brentford. Goes short now to Canos. And it's Baptiste. Again, lifts that one too high. Catching practice for Fabianski, who throws this out quickly, looking to start to counter-attack for West Ham. It's Jared Bowen now on the right-hand side. Left-footed Bowen having to cut back into the middle, but he does well to keep possession. And sends the ball over to Aaron Cresswell. He's got a couple of options ahead of him here, Cresswell. Just lays it off, though, to Declan Rice. Slowly but surely now West Ham getting into the Brentford half. Benrahma back to Cresswell. And back over towards Ogbonna and Zouma on the halfway line as Mbeumo trying to press. So this is, I think, quite intentional here from West Ham. They're not looking to try and send the long ball forward. They just want to keep the ball and try and keep Brentford away from it. Rice now sending a good ball down the left-hand side for Mikhail Antonio, who's onside. He skips away from Janssen, but then Janssen puts a foot in and just about gets the ball away from Antonio. It's good composure from Janssen, because it looked initially as though the number 9 for West Ham had got past him.
Yeah, it did, but I think there was a poor touch when Antonio was taking it forward. It just allowed Janssen to come across and make the challenge, and it was well played from Pontus Janssen there. We've seen down the years that sometimes he can be a little bit rash in the challenge. He certainly wasn't there as West Ham come forward again.
They do. Bowen takes it down, and it's Fornals breaking into the area. Now he lays it off to Souček. And he's got his fellow compatriot Kufal waiting on the right-hand side of the penalty. Kufal against Rico Henry. Kufal's cross gets a deflection off Henry, and it's the first corner kick for West Ham in this match.
Yeah, just beginning to turn things the other way now. West Ham trying to flood more bodies forward. I think that's what they need to try and do. They've not seen enough yet of the likes of Fornals and Ben Rama trying to link play up. It's been a case of them just trying to get the ball quickly whenever they can up towards Antonio. They need to try and use the midfield a little bit more.
Players now arriving inside the penalty area for this corner. It's going to be left-footed Aaron Cresswell from the right-hand side. Just waiting to see where his teammates are in the box. Zanka Jorgensen got the task of trying to mark Kurt Zouma. Souček always a big target for West Ham with these set pieces as well. And Cresswell now ready to take this corner. Aims at the far post. It's a header and it's into the side netting from Kurt Zouma. And he got himself into the right position, and it looked as though it might have been going on target at one stage.
Yeah, it certainly did. That's West Ham's best chance of the game. Very simple, just a good solid corner drifted in by Aaron Cresswell, and Zouma looking to utilise his height at the back post. It's a brilliant climb. Just got away from Zanka Jorgensen, and I think because he was backpedaling, he couldn't quite direct it back towards goal. But yeah, good chance for West Ham.
Good chance, yeah. The first sight of the West Ham have had from a set piece, and now it's Brentford trying to push on down the left-hand side. It's Mbeumo runs that ball into Vladimir Kufal out for a Brentford throw. So slowly the Bees now trying to get back into the West Ham half. And as Dan mentioned at kick-off, a great signing for a West Ham to get Kurt Zouma in. Certainly he's already had plenty of Premier League experience. You know exactly what you get from the French international. Onyeka now rolls the ball to Norgard. Now it's Mbeumo getting towards the penalty area. Over to Rico Henry down the left-hand side. Been blocked here by Kufal. And it's deflected out by Jared Bowen. It's going to be a throw to Brentford. West Ham enjoying a few minutes of possession in the Beast half. But now the visitors trying to exert a bit of pressure themselves. It's over on the left-hand side now. Rico Henry waiting to take this throw. Got too many options so far. He tries to get that ball into Tony. Tony lays it off to Norgard, who breaks into the box. Norgard now tries to play it square. It was just a little bit of an underhit pass. And that allows Rice to make the clearance, but Antonio dispossessed in midfield. Brentford back in possession, and Ivan Toney dropped a bit deeper this time. He's trying to appeal a handball along with Bryan. That was more hopeful rather than any kind of conviction. And a long ball over the top now. And Janssens let this bounce. And Mikhail Antonio gets into the penalty area. He's got support arriving. It goes along. That probably was the wrong option. And his shot is charged down by a sliding tackle. The ball back on the halfway line.
Yeah, it's interesting that whenever Antonio runs forward, it's always Janssen that's coming across to cover, whether it's on the right or the left. I think he's been almost given the task of trying to stop Antonio. He's probably the most physical of the Brentford defenders, you maybe say, but West Ham come forward again.
They do. It's a ball in from Ben Rama this time, which is stopped inside the penalty area. Zanka Jorgensen's clearance is stopped by Rice. He keeps it in play as well. And a chance for West Ham now down the left-hand side as Ben Rama gets it to Antonio. Teed up for Fornals. His strike gets a big deflection. The ball loops up in the air. And it's the easiest of saves there for David Raya, who then hits it out quickly. A little bit too quickly. The idea was to try and pick out Ivan Toney, but he was well marked by Kurt Zouma. West Ham back in possession in midfield here with Thomas Souček, who's back towards Declan Rice. And now Cresswell going forward. Goalless in all the 2 o'clock Premier League kickoffs so far. This game about a minute 90 seconds behind the others. As Brentford now just struggling to get hold of the ball in midfield, although West Ham struggling to make any real progress here as Rice goes over towards Fornals. Fornals on the left-hand side, inside now towards Jared Bowen. And Bowen has got space here down the right to pick out Kufal. Kufal trying to break into the penalty area. Been blocked here by Rico Henry. And eventually the ball deflects off Henry and it's out for a corner.
Yeah, there's no question that West Ham are really getting back into this game now. Brentford are defending stoutly, in fairness to them. They're trying to stop West Ham as much as possible. It still is only that Zouma chance they've had really in the opening sort of 19 minutes of the game. But it did come from a corner, and Cresswell will look to provide another threat. They've got so much height to him for in the box.
They have indeed. There's three West Ham players waiting inside the 6-yard box, another 3 waiting across the penalty area, more waiting at the edge as well. So plenty of options here. The last corner we saw from Cresswell did find the head of Kurt Zouma. And so we can see Antonio waiting there on the near post as the ball is fired into that near post. It's headed up in the air. It looks like it was Angelo Ogbonna that got the final touch, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was a strange one really from Ogbonna. It's as if he tried to glance it, but I think he was closer to goal than maybe he perhaps realised. Another good corner kick, I should say, taken by Aaron Cresswell. It looked as though it was Ivan Toney that was marking Ogbonna. And I'm not really sure what he was trying to do with that, unless he just simply mistimed the header.
Might just be a case, as you say, he might have just arrived on it a little bit too early. But in any case, it is going to be Brentford restarting with this goal kick. They play it short, and Ryan now forced to clear it long anyway, as he's being closed down by Michail Antonio. Cresswell heads the ball up in the air. Rice heads it on, looking for Benrahma. It's Onyeka that gets in the way of that one. Loose ball drops to Ivan Toney, who threads it through towards Canos. Canos into the area, saved by Fabianski. And the rebound from Mbeumo as that crossed the line. The referee has said, no, it hasn't. No, it has. It has crossed the line. The ball is over the line. Brentford were a little bit unsure about whether they should celebrate that or not, but it is in the back of the net. And after a good start from Brentford, they finally take the lead.
Yeah, certainly so. I think it did cross the line, looking at it on the first reaction, as Peter Banks consulted with the Hawkeye goal line technology system. Great persistence from Brentford in coming forward. Canos' initial strike was saved. It's a great through ball that's played through to him. No question of him being offside. Palmed away by Fabianski, and that clearly goes over the line.
It certainly does, yeah. But it's good that we have goal line technology, because it would have been very difficult for us to tell without that. Doing the Chelsea-Southampton game yesterday, we were praising McCarthy for a great save, and only then did we realise that he actually made the save with the whole ball behind the line. But you really did need the Hawkeye to assist there. But Brentford will be delighted, because they started well. West Ham were just starting to respond, just starting to put more pressure on the Bees, and it's almost a counter-attack that gives Brentford the lead here.
Yeah, it is, and it's really good play from Brentford. They've shown already, not just in this game, but throughout the entire season so far, what a threat they can be when they do come forward. There's a real nice synergy about their attacking players, and they've taken a deserved lead. And
now the response from West Ham. Wait to see exactly what the Hammers can do as the ball is played down the right, and it's out for a throw, is it? I think it is going to be a throw to West Ham. Bowen leaving that one for Thomas Souček, as now David Moyes asking the question of Craig Pawson, our fourth official. I'm not entirely sure what David Moyes is unhappy about there. I don't think there could be anything as far as the goal is concerned, but the throw's taken short. The ball goes back to Souček, and then it's Kufal with the cross from the right-hand side, which takes a big deflection, and it is out for a corner kick to West Ham. So the Hammers trying to respond straight away here. And, it's going to be Aaron Cresswell. Brentford will be delighted with that goal when you consider that West Ham had started very slowly in this game. The Bees perhaps guilty of not taking some early chances. But now with that lead, see how the home side respond. It's Aaron Cresswell getting ready to take this corner kick. Once again, Zanka Jorgensen tasked with trying to stop Souček and Kurt Zouma. That's not really a fair fight, but here comes the ball in from Cresswell, aimed at the near post, headed away towards the edge of the area. It's missed by Mbeumo, but at least he does well to get his body in the way of Benrahma's follow-up effort. Now it's with Jared Bowen. Right-footed cross is charged down by Mbeumo, the goal scorer, out for a throw to West Ham. It's going to be Vladimir Kufal to take it. Hammers now keen to try and keep this pressure up on the Brentford defence. Hasn't been enough of that in the game so far. And the ball now back with Kurt Zouma. He rolls it back to Ogbonna, who's deep inside his own half. We've had 23 minutes in this first half. It's West Ham United 0, Brentford 1, and it will be Dan McCarthy to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. It's with Kurt Zouma now just midway inside his own half, collected by Vladimir Sofal. Down the channel looking for Jared Bowen. Uses his body strength well, but it's given away by Sofal, who's had a very unsteady start to this game. Baptiste coming forward. He's then brought down by Sofal, who arrived back in the middle to try and help out his defence. But it is West Ham 0, Brentford 1. That Bryan and Mbeumo goal, which was only given after the signal went to Peter Banks' watch, the referee telling him that it had crossed the line entirely. As Brentford back in possession now. Here is Pontus Jansson. Cross now for Jorgensen. Jorgensen lifts it up. Flicked on there by Baptiste. It goes out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. So 24 minutes on the clock. It's 1-0 in our featured game. No goals in the other two 2 o'clock kickoffs between Crystal Palace and Leicester, and Tottenham and Aston Villa, and then of course Liverpool versus Manchester City coming up, 4:30 kickoff. Here is Declan Rice. It's a bit of a heavy touch from him. Norgard puts it out for a throw-in. West Ham will try and come forward themselves, but I don't think there's been a huge amount wrong with what West Ham have been doing going forward, but at the back, they've conceded so many chances, and that's quite unlike West Ham.
It is unlike West Ham, yeah. I think that surprised me that right from the start of this match, it seems like Brentford were on the front foot, and West Ham allowed them to get on the front foot, which isn't like West Ham at all. They're a team that can stand up bigger and better sides than Brentford and stop them from playing and take the lead, and it just seems as though they allowed the visitors to get into their stride, and all of a sudden West Ham are a goal down. So we really do need to see a big response from David Moyes' men now.
Yep, certainly do, but David Moyes has proved a lot of people wrong, I think, in his second spell as West Ham manager. A lot of people were thinking that he was perhaps finished as a manager, of course, stemming from that ill-fated short spell at Manchester United, a spell at Sunderland as well.
Well, I think that the spell at Manchester United has been borne out by the fact that bigger names have gone to Old Trafford and failed as well, and actually quite a few social media accounts are keen to point out that his win rate is actually, I think, higher than Solskjaer's at the moment. So it just goes to show that perhaps that time at Old Trafford wasn't quite as bad as some people put down at the time. I can tell you that on 27 minutes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Spurs lead, but now a chance for West Ham.
Yeah, it's Antonio, plays it into the box. Oh, it's just got away from Jared Bowen as it was squared across by Ben Rama. The West Ham players are unhappy at something. It looks as though a free kick's been awarded Brentford's way. There is a Brentford man down over on the far side. Quite see who it was, but a chance there for West Ham, and it came from a Brentford mistake.
Yeah, it was Baptiste, wasn't it? It was caught in possession at the edge of his own box, and then that ball from Fornals, it only needs to be a yard in front of Bowen, and it's going to be 1-1. That's almost a guarantee there, really, from that position, but it's just behind Bowen, and he couldn't quite get his foot to that one before the free kick was given Brentford's way. Just to confirm that it was Pierre Højbjerg that had given Tottenham the lead against Aston Villa. It's still goalless between Palace and Leicester, but now the man who gave that ball away looks like Baptiste is in a bit of pain. It could be a shoulder injury here.
Yeah, he's gone down, and it's one of those ones where he does look to be in a lot of pain. He's definitely grimacing as he's down on the ground, so this could be a big loss for Brentford, I think, particularly considering that they lost Vitaly Janelt in the warm-up. This could be another midfielder out of action as we just have another look at the goal line decision. We've got the actual graphic on the screen now, and it's literally millimetres.
It is, yeah.
Over the line. It's very, very tight.
Very tight indeed, yeah. And it just goes to show, because when we saw that replay, it looked like it was clearly over the line, but that just shows that there wasn't too much in it at all. So certainly Brentford will be very pleased for that goal to have gone in. If it turns out that, I mean, this doesn't look good for Baptiste at all. This looks like a shoulder dislocation. If he was to go off, there are a couple of options in terms of a midfielder. I would imagine that, yes, the man we're seeing now, Matthias Jensen, would be the first thought. He's probably a little bit annoyed that he's not really getting the start, but just a little bit of an injury at the start of the season meant that he couldn't quite break into that first team regular. But as a Danish international, I'm sure he'll be looking to cement his place in the team. And Ivan Toney with the assist this afternoon for the goal that gave Brentford the lead. But it was such a good through ball from Toney.
Yeah, it really was, and I think this is where he's improved his game in recent seasons. He's always been a very natural goal scorer, but just that overall play, it's a brilliant threaded through ball. It's the sort of through ball where if a number 10 had have done that, you know, a heralded creative midfielder, everyone would be looking at that and thinking that's why he's such a good player. Ivan Toney's done that, perfectly weighted through to Canos as Mbeumo initially wondered whether it had gone over the line, and then it's the delayed celebration. I think some of the West Ham fans were cheering Fabianski, thinking he'd made the save.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I based my reaction on initially, thinking that it was a good save, and it took a couple of seconds as well for the referee to confirm that. It's the second week in a row that Brentford have had a goal line technology decision. They did the same against Liverpool as well, but now confirmation that young Shandon Baptiste, he'll be disappointed, and hopefully it's not too serious a shoulder injury for him. He is off, and Matthias Jensen, the number 8 on his shirt, he is on now to replace him.
Yeah, Matthias Jensen, along with Christian Norgard, part of Brentford's big Danish contingent, which of course includes the manager Thomas Frank. So Baptiste off. It's a shame for him because he has suffered with injuries in the last few years at Brentford. He's not been able to play as many games as he would like, and it looked very innocuous when we saw the replay.
He did, yeah. He looked like he was just a fool on the pitch. But as you said, him and Tariq Fosu arrived at, as it was still the back end of Griffin Park back then, and they were certainly hoping to establish themselves as regulars. Fosu just a little bit out of form, but as you say, Baptiste with a long-term injury, only just getting back to fitness. But West Ham now trying to get back into some sort of attacking form.
Here is Cresswell over on the far side, looking to link up with Antonio, and now with Declan Rice, who remained a West Ham player over the summer, despite the fact that he was continuously linked with a move away, and that was kind of exacerbated by his great form for England during the Euro 2020 tournament. £100 million is the figure mooted that would be needed to sign Rice from West Ham. As half an hour into the game, it still remains West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Bryan and Mbeumo sliding home the only goal of the game so far, and Brentford's great start to the new Premier League season looks as though it could continue, but they've got a through ball here towards Ben Rama, and Ben Rama has taken it back off on Onyeka. Bowen in the box. Bowen goes to ground. I think he just ran into Pinnock more than anything.
Well, he's still down on the ground there, Bowen. Whether or not that's because he's borne a bit of an injury there on his hip, it looks like he's in a bit of pain there. As Brentford now looking to get a free kick. West Ham thought they might get the free kick for the fact that Tony had actually fallen on the ball with his hands, but the referee now saying play on. So there was like a brief VAR check there, but the problem for Brentford was that 3 players set in to try and win the ball and all missed. Onyeka then wins the ball and gives it away. I think that probably looking at that replay there, Dan, does Rico Henry get a bit of the ball?
I think he does, yeah. I think that's probably a good challenge. It's another one of those examples of last season a penalty might have been awarded.
Possibly, yeah. I think that any kind of contact, but looked like so he just got there ahead of Bowen, who's managed to pick himself up now as well.
Long through ball up towards Ivan Toney, but Zuma wins that. Now Sofal can just knock it forward, looking for Antonio, but Janssen will win that in the air very easily. A bit of head tennis going on now. Declan Rice nods it down towards Aaron Cresswell. And now here is Fornals for Souček. Now here is Sufal on this near side. Cross for Bowen, who always wants to drift in on his left foot. Still he goes, Jared Bowen. He lifts it up towards the back post, towards side Ben Rama, who was absolutely brilliant for Brentford in the Championship a couple of years ago. He earned his move to West Ham on the basis of how strong he was in the second tier. Cresswell underlaps, he crosses, and it goes behind for another corner kick. It's been a very watchable and attacking game so far.
It has, yeah, absolutely. It's been an enjoyable game, and as you mentioned, Ben Rama, that he didn't quite have the starts at West Ham last season that he would have liked. But it seems as though perhaps that first season, getting into the team, getting into the squad, seems like David Moyes is trusting him more and giving him a few more starts at the beginning of this season. Yep,
he certainly is, and he's in the side ahead of plenty of options that Moyes could utilise, the likes of Andriy Yarmolenko and new signing Nikola Vlasic. Cresswell prepares to take another corner. It's on the other side this time, so it will be an outswinger. Zuma is unmarked in the box at the moment as Cresswell knocks it in. It was towards Zuma, who made his way slightly forward. It comes back out to Bowen. Bowen back now to Sofal. Sofal looks to drift one in, but it's cleared by Ivan Toney. Back out now towards Fornals. He's the furthest man back. He's been put under pressure and he's forced to play it all the way back to Lucas Fabianski, who will knock it forward, looking for Antonio. Can he keep that in play? Not quite. He wasn't too far off Mikel Antonio, a man who's had a wonderful start to the new season. And I've got to admit, a few years ago when I saw him playing as just a winger in the Championship, no one would ever have thought that he was going to turn into a player like this.
Well, you could go back a few years further previous to that, and he was a non-league player who had a trial at Brentford when they were in League One. They weren't interested. He wasn't good enough as far as they were concerned. It just goes to show. I mean, he said it himself that he feels that that's part of the reason why he's got such a drive to play now, is the fact that he knows what it is to go through the leagues, have rejections at lower league clubs, and now, as you say, he's a West Ham regular, a goal scorer, and it just goes to show. I mean, on a smaller scale, you could compare that to Ollie Watkins, a player who really always was considered as a winger and started to play as a striker, as a Brentford striker now, Ivan Toney on the run. Yeah,
Toney's coming forward. Can he keep hold of the ball? He goes down, and he was upended by Kurt Zouma. So this is a free kick chance in a really dangerous area, and from where the foul was made, it's no surprise to see that Zouma has picked up a yellow card, but this is a really promising position for Brentford.
Kurt Zouma has to take that one for the team because he was the one sold the dummy in midfield that allowed Ivan Toney to get away from him in the first place. A hopeful point at the ball to say that's what I got, ref, but it's clear that he didn't. He only tripped Ivan Toney, and he made sure it was still outside the area. If anything, this might just be a little bit too close to goal with these free kicks that are very close to the edge of the area, but certainly a couple of Brentford players, I would imagine, Canos and Mbeumo will certainly fancy their chances.
Yeah, they certainly will. It's very central as well, so it probably, you wouldn't say one way or another it suits a left footer or a right footer. It's a tiny bit right of centre, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. It's in the middle of the D, so that's how close it was to the penalty area. Of course, there was no prospect of it being a penalty. It wasn't inside the box, but with 10 minutes of this first half to go, Brentford with a golden opportunity to potentially double their advantage. We're seeing Fabianski, and just behind him seeing shots of fans in the crowd having to shield their eyes from the sun. So this could be a tricky one for Fabianski to negotiate. It's a massive West Ham wall that he's assembled. It looks as though there's 6 or 7 players in there, and Brentford are trying to get in their way, make it as awkward as possible. And it's Fornals, I think, who's drawn the short straw. He's the one lying on his back behind the wall that's been assembled. It's going to be either Bryan Mbeumo or Sergi Canos to take it. You don't know who of the two will take it at this stage. It is Mbeumo. He tries to just float one over the wall rather than put his laces through it, which I think is the only thing he could have done. Henry puts it back into the box. Zouma heads up in the air. Ogbonna then wins the second header, and now West Ham can try and come forward. Here is Antonio, takes it away from Onyeka, and then again from Rico Henry. It's Bowen making a move down the left this time. Rice makes a move ahead of him, as does Cresswell on the outside. Bowen has just held it up, but that has killed off all the momentum. I think Mbeumo probably did the right thing in terms of the type of free kick, but the wall was just too big.
Wall was too big. That was part of the danger when you take a free kick that close to the edge of the area. Can say that 2 quick goals have gone in at Sellers Park. Kelechi Iheanacho on 31 minutes and Jamie Vardy on 38 minutes have put Leicester City 2 up against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think Leicester could do with a win. They've not had a great start to the season.
I mean, they lost to Legia Warsaw on Thursday, and knowing a little bit about Polish football, that is a bad result. They shouldn't really be losing to a team like Legia, even away from home in a Cauldron Stadium. There should be enough about Leicester City to have won that, and their league form in the Premier League this year hasn't been good enough either.
No, it hasn't, and they'll be looking to compete with West Ham for those Europa League places, but West Ham have got some work to do of their own with 8 minutes to go of the first half. West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Here is Ethan Pinnock just on the edge of his own area. Back now to a player that we haven't really mentioned so far in David Raya, which just goes to prove how few chances West Ham have had. Raya has barely been involved. Barely been involved,
no. There's not much been happening in front of Brentford's goal. The best spell, I think, for West Ham was those 5 minutes before Brentford scored. I thought there were a couple of chances there. It was a good run from Antonio, and that's when it seemed as though West Ham were just getting into their stride, and that's when Brentford went up the other end and scored. And since then, it's been more of an even contest, and West Ham have struggled to get the ball close to Brentford's box.
Zach Jorgensen was just found guilty of fouling Pablo Fornals over on the far side. Fornals just drawing the foul from Jorgensen, a bit of a clumsy one from the defender who was picked up on a free transfer after the transfer window had closed. Former Huddersfield defender. Not a bad free transfer to pick up, even though he probably didn't have his best spell at Huddersfield because they struggled in their 2 seasons they had in the Premier League as Brentford now come forward. Another floated ball over the top, but Zuma heads it away from Ivan Toney, who's gone down. He looks like he's holding his back, but he's sat up right now. West Ham not pulling any punches. They're not putting the ball out for him. Here is Kanyos now in the middle. Kanyos over towards Pontus Jansson. Here is Jorgensen. Lifts one across now for Rico Henry. Now Pinnock. This is good possession now from Brentford, even though they're not doing a huge amount with it. They're just forcing West Ham to do the chasing.
They are, absolutely. Brentford in possession. They're getting a little bit boxed in at the edge of their own area, but what they'll be happy about is the fact that West Ham aren't really able to get hold of the ball. Very little possession for West Ham. Just as I say, that ball given away to Ben Rama.
Yeah, here is Ben Rama. Chance to shoot from the edge of the area, and it's well saved by Raya. Straight at him, but Raya had to make the save up against his former teammate, who did put his laces through it, but
never developed the movement on the ball that he wanted. I think he was one of those where, as you said, he does hit it with his laces, but it just went straight down the middle, and it wasn't with too much pace either.
Yeah, it was almost as if he didn't want to put too much power on it, thinking that he was going to potentially drive it over the crossbar, and in the end it was a comfortable save from Raya, but one that he needed to make anyway. Another free kick awarded to West Ham. Canos this time, the man guilty of giving away the free kick. A lot of focus will be on Saïd Benrahma, who, of course, will want to win against his former club. He enjoyed his stint at Brentford enormously, but at the time when Brentford failed to get promoted, I think he was always destined to make a Premier League move. He was probably the shining light of that season. But
him alongside Watkins, yeah, absolutely. I think those two players were always destined to leave. And I think that the interesting thing about Benrahma was that he played in the friendly that Brentford had against the West Ham, and he scored in that game, and he gets a chance in now. Benrahma flashes a shot wide from the edge of the area.
Yeah, that was more like it. He looked to curl the ball into that far corner. We're going to see it from the reverse angle now as he received it on the edge of the D. Pinnock was coming across, and I think he was just looking to try and bend it around Pinnock into that far corner. Had it been on target, I think Raya may have been struggling, but couldn't quite get the requisite whip on the ball, Saïd Benrahma. But that's a couple of opportunities now where Benrahma has been given too much space on the edge of the area.
Yeah, Brentford could probably do with half-time now, actually. I think West Ham are just starting to get into the game a bit more. It's a bit of a struggle now for the Bees to stay in possession. And with 4 minutes plus injury time to play, this is when Brentford have to be very careful, because West Ham will certainly be hunting for that equaliser. Yeah,
they certainly will. West Ham will not be looking to disrespect Brentford, but this is the sort of game they'd have looked at and thought, we need to be picking up 3 points from this if we are to continuing our aims of qualifying for Europe once again, as the throw-in is taken. But Peter Banks, the referee, is telling Sofal just to move further back, and he's really not happy with Sofal, just trying to buy a few extra yards with the throw-in.
Well, that's one of those things that players do try and get away with, and referees quite often let them get away with it. You see players stealing 5 or even 10 yards down one of the touchlines occasionally, but on this occasion, Peter Banks being very detailed.
It's a really poor ball across field, that from West Ham. A strange ball from Antonio as he tried to pick out Aaron Cresswell. Got far too much pace on it, and it will go out for a Brentford throw-in as David Moyes looks a bit pensive on the touchline, very deep in thought. I suppose, as you mentioned it earlier, Paul, if he does need to make changes, he's got plenty of big hitters he can bring on off the bench. I think the only thing that West Ham lack in their squad is a reliable backup for Antonio.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's been that point's been made. I think that they have had this issue in terms of having a replacement striker, and they've tried with a few players in that role, but really Antonio's the only one that can fill that role regularly. And so far, of course, he's been in good form and he's staying fit. But if he was to get injured, I think it could pose a problem for David Moyes' side. They've only had the one defeat all season. That was that defeat at home to Manchester United. This will be a bit of a surprise to the Hammers and their fans that this first half is going like this.
Yep, it will, but it's testament to Brentford, the fact that they've taken a chance that has come their way. They've had other chances as well. They've limited West Ham to shots from the edge of the area. Here they come now, the Hammers down the far side. Fornals hugging that far touchline. Inside now for Benrahma. Gets away from Mbeumo, who's the last remaining component of that BMW front three they had a couple of years ago in the Championship, of course, as Paul mentioned, with Watkins as well. So foul round the outside. Can he square it? It's going to drop for Antonio. Is it? Now Souček. There's an almighty scramble in the box. Brentford are able to clear it, but that's for the first time in the game, really. We've seen them really switch off because Sofal had so much space to get round the outside.
Far too much space. The referee's going to stop play for an injury inside the Brentford penalty area. It's Pontus Jansson who's down. I wonder if VAR perhaps are pressing a quick rewind as well just to see what was happening in that 6-yard box, because certainly there was a sort of almost like an instinctive appeal. We always appeal when one of your players hits the deck in the box, but we'll see if there was any reason to say that there could have been a penalty there. I'm not so sure. I think Norgard and Antonio were both falling over there, weren't they? Or does Norgard catch him?
I think it's just a big coming together between, I think, the 6 players within just a very close distance of one another that are almost all running for the same ball. So it does look a bit clumsy, but I don't think there's enough in that for a foul to be given either way, to be honest, as Janssen is down on the deck still. He's sat up right now, so that's good news for him, as Henry just switched off there. He allowed Sofal to make a move around the back. It's a really good ball played through to him. I think it was Ben Rama.
It's actually, I think it's Rico Henry's knee that hits the back of Pontus Jansson when he's already on the deck. So when the Jansson's already down, I think it's his own teammate that, it's Rico Henry's knee that bumps into the back of Jansson, so he could be feeling a little bit groggy now.
Yeah, I think Pontus Jansson, he is one of the harder footballers you'll see. He does like to go for everything aerially. He will stick his head where a lot of players don't bother sticking their feet. He's back up now, he's jogging, and of course they will have put him through all the concussion protocols, not taking any chances where that's concerned. We have played 45 minutes now. We're yet to find out how much time is going to be added on by the 4th official. It's been a fairly attritional contest. 5 minutes have been found. I'm not quite sure where that figure's come from, to be honest. I thought there'd maybe be 2 or 3, but 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably double what we were expecting, but West Ham, they'll certainly be pleased to see that 5 go up.
Yeah, Thomas Souček is jostling with Jorgensen at the back post. Scores so many goals from these set pieces, but the referee is going to have a word with him. He's West Ham's answer to Marouane Fellaini, as David Moyes loved playing with a big rangy midfielder who could score goals from these positions, and Thomas Souček is looking to get away from Jorgensen as the corner is drifted into the near post. It's headed away by Norgard. It comes out now to Bryan and Mbeumo as he dribbles with the ball forward. It comes off Ben Rama, and it will go out of play for a Brentford throw-in. If Brentford could go forward themselves and get a bit of a sucker punch, because I think there's no question that Brentford started the game the better, but West Ham have probably ended this half as the stronger side.
Absolutely, yeah. Brentford would have been very worried to have seen that 5 go up, because they'll know that West Ham very much in the ascendancy now. It's a problem for the Bees to even get past the halfway line in terms of their own possession, so they just need to keep it tight. From West Ham's point of view, they need to keep the tempo up right up until this half-time whistle.
Here is Angelo Ogbonna, just a very no-frills smash ball forward. Here comes Cresswell now. Cresswell forward towards Antonio. Antonio is just jostled off the ball. It comes out now to Sofal on this near side. Sofal makes the run forward to Jared Bowen. Bowen away there from Ethan Pinnock, who came across. He swung in the ball with his right foot, which is not something you tend to see from Jared Bowen. And then Sofal gives away the free kick. A bit of a late challenge on Ivan Toney, who did very well coming and getting his body in the way of Sofal on the ball.
Absolutely, you need that from your forwards when the whole team are under pressure. It's good to see Ivan Toney, Brentford's main goal threat, back pretty much level with his own goal line there, trying to win the ball back and winning his side a free kick, which just kills that West Ham move off. But absolutely, David Moyes will take some heart from the fact that his side have at least announced themselves in this first half based on the last 15 minutes. But I'm sure he'll be asking, what happens in the first half an hour, lads, because we just weren't at the races at all.
No, they certainly weren't. It was a very below-par performance for the very high standards they've set in the past year or so, as Zuma with a big header away. Pinnock exactly the same. It's going to drop now for Bryan and Mbeumo, who is playing a little bit more centrally than perhaps he has done in the past. He's tended to play on the right and come in on that left foot of his, but a lot of these Brentford players have proven to be adaptable down the years, as Fabianski is beginning to struggle with the sun now, as it shines directly in his face, and I don't know why many goalkeepers just don't bother with the cap these days.
Exactly the point I was about to make. It was standard fare for the goalkeeper would run out to his and drop inside his goal. He would drop a water bottle, a little towel, and the cap. That was standard fare for the goalkeepers, and these days it just seems to me they've stopped doing it. But Fabianski certainly has had to cover shield his eyes on more than one occasion. He'll be glad there's just a minute of this half left.
Yeah, and I suppose from West Ham's point of view, they'll be hoping that the sun continues to shine, because then it's Brentford playing from that side in the second half, and Fabianski will be hoping that David Raya struggles himself with the sun in the second half. But that's for then. We've got 1 more minute of the 5 that were added on to go in this first half, as West Ham have conceded a free kick. I think Antonio had just strayed into an offside position as Janssen plays it forward. It's given away by the Swede. It comes now to Souček, and here is Fornals coming from the left into the middle. Nice combination work with Bowen. Bowen comes inside himself. Across now for Declan Rice. Cresswell's ahead of him. Rice is going to go inside, just waiting for an out ball. He plays one now to Fornals on this near side. Sofal's made the run forward, but he just loses control of the ball. Onyeka tries to shepherd it out, and Brentford are able to clear it eventually. Great hold at play this from Ivan Toney. He just trips over the ball though, and now West Ham afforded a chance now to come forward. Seconds off this first half to go. Swung in by Fornals. It's played behind, and did that go for a corner kick? I think no, it didn't actually. It's half time. Yep, the whistle has gone, so Brentford leading at the break thanks to a goal from Bryan and Mbeumo. It's West Ham 0, Brentford 1.